Hello, everybody. Welcome back. If we have reposted anything weird on Instagram, sorry about that. That was my fault.
The other day I was just looking at our page and I noticed some really random, rather strange reposts made by us, of course. And we noticed somebody liked them, and I was like, what is going on? I didn't remember reposting anything. So Sara was accidentally reposting things that she didn't even know. She's just liking random things, just pressing all the buttons,
Well, I think the likes were on me, but I was reposting things. I think I had no idea. Then one of our friends liked it or commented. I think we get a notification when we like it, if they've liked it, something like that. And then Sara looks at the iPad and said, oh, what's going on here? And I go, and she realized I had been reposting a few things, not very many, but that was my bad. So sorry if anyone's seen anything weird. Also, if anyone has the Instagram app on their iPad, I'll put a screenshot how weird it looks. I don't like it. I don't have Instagram on my phone. I think I'm going to have to get it on my phone because I always just do it on the iPad. I think I have to get it on the phone now. Okay, so if anyone did notice that.
Nobody probably did because we have not been very active on there.
Yeah, no one probably did. But yeah, I wanted to mention that first thing, just because this is our first video we've recorded since that happened, I think over the weekend, maybe Friday, maybe. That has something to do with our video, but timestamps down below because a lot has been going on in the soccer world. Because last time we talked about the international break was going on. Last video you and I actually did was the England versus Brazil match. About did that get too physical? What were people being too harsh on Brazil? XYZ. But there was a really good conversation in our comment section about physical play made sense, why it wasn't as physical as some people thought. So really good conversation. Love that. But also that was the last video Sara and I had recorded. Since then, international break over. USA got a big win against New Zealand. England got a big win over Australia. Nations League finalists were determined. It will be Spain and Germany. Other Nation League matches happened within Europe. Most notably, I think Ireland getting back to Group A or League A or Group A. I forget the terminology, but very excited for them. So a lot going on. So that was international break. And this last weekend was exciting because it was decision day just yesterday for the NWSL. And so that means a few things. It means yesterday determined not only the teams that were going to be involved in the NWSL playoffs, the top 8, it also meant the seeding and where they placed on the ranking. So that means it was decided who will play each other in each round of the playoffs. Well, in the first round specifically. But bad news for Gotham.
I don't want to talk about it. They ended up 8th, so that means they're going to play Kansas City first.
Yeah.
Which, let's hope Kansas City's having a really bad day that day. Not a really bad game.
Which sucks, because those are the two teams I literally want to win. I want Gotham to win, or I want Kansas City to win. So that pretty much just sucks. Because I don't know what happened to Gotham. They tied last week, lost yesterday. I think if they would have won, they wouldn't have been last place. Actually, I think they would have been at least one ahead of Louisville because Louisville snuck into the last spot. That was the only spot I believe that was determined yesterday was Louisville because after the last 4 years, them being in 9th place, they finally got into the playoffs. So that was really exciting for them. But Gotham was in the 8th spot. So it should be exciting to see how the playoffs happen but yeah, Gotham's going to be tough for them to beat Kansas City. It's going to be at home for Kansas City. Yeah, if I was a betting man, I would not bet on Gotham. However,
good thing you're a betting woman then.
But I will say, if any team can do it, Gotham can. Look at their lineup. How their lineup is so good and they still ended up in 8th. I don't know. I was kind of scratching my head with that, actually. And then also, if Gotham beats Kansas City, I'll feel heartbroken. I really like the Kansas City squad, so I'll feel bad.
It's okay if Gotham wins.
Well, because at the end of the day, if you want Gotham to win the whole thing, that they're gonna beating the best first. Maybe sometimes it's easier, but sometimes you have to one team who beats the best. Then it's like, okay, well then they poop themselves out. You know what I mean?
Crazier things have happened,
yeah.
So I'm here for it.
Also, did anyone watch the World Series? Dodgers beating the Blue Jays. Sara has not stopped hearing from me about the World Series because I'm very excited. Dodgers won. Any comments on the Dodgers?
It's TFM, too freaking much. Calm down.
I love the Dodgers. I feel so bad. And I guess maybe that's what I'm thinking about. I felt so bad for the Blue Jays fans. They were 3 inches or 1 inch from winning the whole thing. They were so close, and that's heartbreaking. Very exciting. Also, Christen Press's last game ever. And very sad. I mean, hey, she was glowing yesterday. I don't know. It was a really high pony. She just looked incredible. Last game ever. She came so close to scoring.
Ugh, so freaking close. But sorry, Alyssa wasn't allowing that.
Okay. Do you think Alyssa should have let Christen score on her last game ever? Or no, Alyssa's not gonna?
No. I mean, yes, but no.
Yeah. She came so close, and then they kind of had a moment after the game. I mean, they're great friends. They've been friends for so long. And also, Alyssa apparently still not announced her retirement from club soccer. I believe she's still playing. But then again, Sara and I were just talking about it. Alyssa's so sneaky. She could just announce it in a month and be like, okay, that was my last game ever, because she doesn't want the fanfare. I don't know. And Tobin was there at the game, and then our broadcast goes, we're going to talk to Christen Press right when we come back, and she never came. I'm thinking she just wanted time with the fans, which much rather her have time with the fans. She used to play in Chicago, but sad but happy. But they're doing so many great things. Kristen's doing already so many great things with her company and everything, so but sad it was her last game ever, and they didn't win. Chicago won. I was excited for Chicago, but
yeah, bittersweet.
Yeah. So that happened. Also, WSL is also back. Exciting games over last weekend. I don't think anything surprising happened in the WSL. Arsenal, big win over Leicester. Then also, Chelsea got a big win over London City Lionesses. Couple game notes there. The 2 Aussies scored. Sam Kerr and Ellie Carpenter scored. Great goal from Ellie Carpenter. I think it's her first as a Blue. Also kind of like the storyline of Ellie Carpenter playing against DVD, her wife. However, DVD didn't play. She has been injured. But some fans were kind of upset, annoyed by DVD not playing, because they were heavily pushing DVD and some of the ads, some of the promotion for the game, some of the Insta stories and grams. I'm not exactly what, I just saw some comments saying, hey, you're really pushing DVD. She was never going to play. You know what I mean? So some people thought they were pushing the whole storyline of wives playing when they weren't really going to ever play each other.
Yeah, that's sad she didn't play, but...
Yeah, which I'm wondering, so she's injured now. I don't know the extent of her injury, but it's a pretty long season for WSL. They go until about May, so I'm guessing London City and Chelsea play each other again. I haven't looked at the schedule, but that's my guess that they do. I'm sure they'll play each other again. But Chelsea had a big win. Also, London City, most people predicted this. They're halfway up the table. The beginning of the season, they kind of struggled, but now the 2 bottom teams, I think, are West Ham and Liverpool. One of those teams is going to get relegated, 100%, in my opinion. We all knew that London City wasn't going to get relegated based on their squad, but it's going to be West Ham or Liverpool or one of the bottom table teams. I'm not quite sure. I haven't looked that closely, but that's going to be crazy. And that's what happens, building up a great squad and then one of those teams getting relegated possibly. I don't know. I'm happy about it because that's what's fun. I wish NWSL had a relegation, but it is crazy at the same time.
I don't like that. That's dumb.
Your true feelings come out.
Yeah, that's so mean.
I know. It does seem kind of mean because we're just not used to it in the American game. There isn't anything quite like that in the U.S. League.
It's like going from varsity to JV.
Yeah, it is. The only kind of equivalent that I think is a direct equivalent is individual baseball players at Major League Baseball. Sometimes they get sent down to the minor, so they'll go to the minor league team, which is actually kind of common. If you're not playing very well, you get sent down, but not the whole team, just individual players.
Okay, that's your only baseball reference you're allowed to make.
But the big story that I think everyone's talking about in the soccer world, at least this last week or this last few days, is a story about former Lioness Mary Earps and some interesting comments she had. Well, first of all, she has a autobiography being released. She had some excerpts from the book released. Then she did some interviews. And what she revealed in those interviews is specifically about Hannah Hampton. I think it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, turned off a lot of people. What's the point in kind of saying this now? But I'm sure everyone who clicks on this video has seen what's going on, because actually it's one of the biggest stories. Everyone's talking about it. And yeah, so I'll have Sara read the headline.
Mary Earps says she told Wiegman she was rewarding Hampton's bad behavior. Goalkeeper lifts lid on tensions in Lionesses squad. Hannah Hampton replaced Earps as England's number 1. Mary Earps says she protested to the Lionesses head coach Sarina Wiegman that bad behavior is being rewarded when rival goalkeeper Hannah Hampton was restored to the England side. In her autobiography, All In, serialized exclusively in The Guardian, Earps says Hampton's behavior behind the scenes had frequently risked derailing training sessions and team resources during England's triumph at the 2022 Euros. The book, offering the fullest explanation of Earps' decision to quit international football in May, is the first to reveal tensions inside the England women's squad during an unprecedented 3-year period of success, including winning 2 European championships and getting to a World Cup final. Earps is also candid about her struggles with weight, binge eating, and alcohol. Earps played every game of the Euros in England in 2022 and the Women's World Cup in Australia in 2023, when she was named goalkeeper of the tournament after saving a penalty in the final. She was named 2023 BBC Sports Personality of the Year. Hampton was a member of the squad for those tournaments, but was dropped for a period after the 2022 Euros. In an interview with The Guardian to accompany the serialization, Earps says of Hampton, "I think we had different ideas of what being a teammate should be. I think there was a mismatch and misalignment of values." Asked to elaborate on what the disruptive behavior was, Earps said, "I don't want to go into specifics because it's not my place. She is a very good goalkeeper, and I've tried to draw a line under all that. I have messaged her privately to say, look, no bad blood." The Guardian revealed in October 2022 that Hampton was dropped by Wiegman because of her behavior and attitude at England camps. Wiegman would not be drawn on the reasons, saying after the Guardian story, "She has to do something personal that I would not like to comment on." Hampton spoke later about the impact the story had on her and said she felt like quitting football. "It was harder to find that fight in me to prove people wrong, but somehow I managed it," she told Elle in June. "I had all my friends and my family around me at the time to guide me in the right direction and keep me going. It's worked out for the best. I've got a lot to thank them for." Hampton returned to the squad in 2023. Earps writes that Wiegman consulted Earps about restoring Hampton. Earps says she told her, "It doesn't make me feel comfortable, but the England coach said everyone deserves a second chance." Hampton went on to play some matches, and in April 2024, Wiegman told Earps she planned to play Hampton in a Euros qualifier. "I don't get it," Earps says she told Wiegman. "It's a qualifier match, and bad behavior is being rewarded." In April 2025, Wiegman said Hampton was now her first-choice goalkeeper, leading to Earps dramatically retiring from international football shortly before this year's Euro in Switzerland. The Lionesses retained the trophy with Hampton in a starring role.
We read a lot from this article. I'm not sure how much we'll keep in, but that kind of spells out what was going on. It kind of spells out what we kind of knew but didn't have confirmed until now. The fact that Mary Earps was basically told, "You're not going to be the number 1." And then, how we say, she kind of rage quit. She goes, "Well, if I'm not going to be number 1, I'm not going to play." But the extra component to this was Earps is saying, Hannah Hampton wasn't a team player. She caused things. Sarina, you are rewarding her bad behavior from the past, and I don't agree with that. I don't like it. I don't think it's the way it should be done. And she's talking about that now. Now, people are saying a couple things, but why talk about this right now? Because as we remember, right after Mary Earps retired and Hannah Hampton was named to the Euro squad, before they had won, a lot of people were going after Hannah Hampton, saying, "Oh, look you're never going to be as good as Mary. You suck, blah, 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 blah." And that didn't help. And I'm sure that didn't help the team. Mary kind of left them hanging, not being a good backup goalie. And then people are also saying, why now when it's so fresh, when everything's happening? It's just happened. Sometimes people wait a while to kind of talk about these things. Everything just happened. Because the thing I didn't realize, I knew Mary Earps was famous and popular in the UK, but after going over a lot of these stories, she's about as famous as you can get in the UK. And she was like literally one of the most, if not the most famous. I did not realize that. Okay, but it goes back to this idea that Hannah Hampton was disruptive, a bad teammate, a bad causing problems, and that's another aspect of it, because in nowhere, there's no real denying all these stories. There wasn't really any denying of it. It did seem like Hannah, there was an issue with her personally, with an issue of her, with her teammates, not just with her Lioness teammates, with her Aston Villa teammates from a few years ago. She was dropped from playing some games in Aston Villa. Obviously, she was going through something and didn't act, and was acting maybe not like a good teammate. And the only reason I say that, because this has kind of been corroborated by a few people. I just saw a quote yesterday that Ruesha was a teammate of Hannah a few years ago with Aston Villa, and Ruesha basically said, yeah, I was there when she wasn't a great teammate. I was there when she was being disruptive. So
would you see it as bad behavior? Would you just see it as immature?
I've been there when she's behaved bad.
I don't think the question was she a bad teammate, or was she going through something and it caused her to act not like a great teammate? You know what I'm saying? I don't think that's being disrupted. I don't think that part is being disputed too much. But this is the part where people really are having the problem. You know, that was 3 years ago, 3 years ago. She was 21 at the time. It's 3 years later. And a lot of people are saying, hey, maybe she was kind of a bad teammate or kind of caused problems. But people can change in 3 years, especially when you're so young.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you're still kind of developing at that age, you know, you're still young.
Yeah. And so people are saying, okay, Mary, I understand you're just speaking from your point of view, but you know, something can change, and to bring it up right now just seems kind of petty in a way, and also kind of just to sell your book right now. So people are just kind of saying maybe that was true, and people are saying, okay, maybe that was your experience, but it just seemed kind of petty at the same time. And so I don't think people necessarily have a problem with Mary actually even talking about this, but I think the timing, I think that's a big issue with people, because everyone's still active playing, and it just seems so fresh considering everything in the Euros just happened. She said, I think the quotes were, she had a different idea of what a good teammate was, and her other quote was, and I'll play a video as well of what also she said.
We had a difficult relationship, but we navigated it, or I navigated it as best as I could. It was a difficult professional dynamic. I definitely didn't enjoy the England camps as much as what I would like, which played a part in my decision. But I think there were certain things that were happening, a misalignment of values that I felt like, was affecting my enjoyment. But I think she's a very talented goalkeeper, and I think she had a great summer. I don't have bad blood towards Hannah. I wish her all the very best, and I told her as such after the tournament. You don't stay number one forever. Someone's always going to come and take your place, and what better way than for the next England goalkeeper to be immensely successful, and for England to be immensely successful.
But people are saying the timing seems a little weird, and a lot of people are saying, you know, the idea of second chances, you know, that's even what Sarina, and that's another part of it. Mary kind of spoke out against Sarina Wiegman, saying, I told Sarina I thought she was making a mistake by rewarding bad behavior. I saw this article, and I think this is what a lot of people are saying.
Mary Earps, former England number 1, should know more than most about importance of a second chance after Hannah Hampton comments. Former England number 1 has received backlash on social media after revealing tensions with Hannah Hampton, which led to international retirement. Earps, however, needed her own second chance by Sarina Wiegman to go on to achieve glory on the biggest stage.
Yeah, and so this article talks about Mary Earps, how she was not on the national team, and how she had to be given a second opportunity to be able to come back and win the Euros in 2022. And I guess the idea of this article is like Mary saying, well, Hannah had bad behavior behind the scenes, had frequently risked derailing training sessions and team resources. And even though Mary's problems weren't necessarily in terms of teammates and things like that, I mean, the idea of second chances overall, you know, right here it said in the article, Wiegman didn't give up on Earps. ending her 2 years international because Mary wasn't in the squad for 2 years, but Wiegman didn't give up on Mary Earps. The idea of maybe Hannah did have problems and maybe a lot of people knew about it. It was reported at the time, but Mary to speak out, a lot of people are saying timing is weird. Why say it? Are you doing it to sell books? But then the other people are saying, hey, she's just giving her personal perspective how she felt. And she said there's no bad blood against Hannah Hampton. So a lot of people are thinking this kind of just looks kind of, I don't know, tacky from Mary. And then I saw people saying, well, yeah, I know Hannah's a bad person because she threw the water bottle, and good people don't throw the water bottles from the Euros. So I don't know. So what does everyone think? I'm sure everyone heard about this. I feel bad. I do think if Hannah acted a certain way when she was 21, I know I read some stories that she had some personal issues, and she's turned it around and became a really great teammate and learned from any mistakes. I think that's awesome. I think that's a good story. And Mary's just kind of talking about her experience. But I think out of all this, Mary is the one who comes out not looking great because it does look like she rage quit. You know what I mean? Somebody, we're going to read a comment, but putting the herself before the team. Okay, I'll just read some comments I saw.
So this comment says, my biggest issue is that she didn't say exactly what Hannah did was bad behavior, because now fans can't form their own opinion on her. Either you take Earps' word for it or you don't. Die-hard Merps fans obviously will, and it will ruin Hannah's reputation for something that maybe never happened.
And then Sonia Bompastor, who is Hannah Hampton's coach at Chelsea, she released a statement too, basically defending basically defending Hannah and also defending Sarina Wiegman, as a fellow coach, as someone who, she thinks that she was disrespected, I guess. So Sonia Bompastor says, I think one of them is class and Hannah is the class one. So she's definitely defending Hannah. And it's her player too. And this is a good point. And this is kind of how I feel in a way about, learning from maybe past mistakes.
Something happened, but Hannah has clearly made up for it. The team loves her and Sarina loves her. People are allowed to make mistakes and grow from it.
Someone said this, and a lot of people agreed with this.
She's actually done nothing to damage Hannah's reputation here. She has done massive damage to her own reputation, though. She comes across as a bitter bully.
Yeah, I saw that. I think, and some people think Mary actually wanted the team to fail under Hannah over the summer because to kind of prove her right. And I don't know if I agree with that necessarily. I just feel like, and here's another comment.
Mary has spoken so many times about how she was given a second chance by Sarina. The idea that she should allow that, but Hannah shouldn't, just reeks. The bad attitude claims really just came off as projection after this. I'd love to be in the England and Man United goalkeeper group chats right now.
Yeah, I wonder. And that's the thing. Mary feels something, and then she's speaking out about it. And then if Hannah's teammates, I'm sure a lot of them were there when there was issues. And I'm sure Hannah has changed if there was an issue. Because I think a lot of people in the soccer, from what I kind of read around, there isn't too much denying there was some type of issue. But you still can change and grow up. You know what I mean? Right. Which is another reason why, this is a completely different story, but having like 13 and 14-year-olds in the NWSL, is that a great idea? You know, that's where it goes back to. The comparison is not the same. But being that young, that really is a question, actually. Should 13 and 14-year-olds be in the NWSL?
Isn't the age 15 or is it now 14?
I know it's young. I do know it's young.
This comment says, it's time for Earps to move on because I think she's trying to create some sales for her book with this, but has ended up making this look really bad on her. This next comment says, it's really bothered me. I really liked Mary Earps, but I do think some of the comments towards Hampton were unnecessary and harsh. And I don't think bringing it up is helpful to Hampton or fair.
And then I do see this a lot. Earps is bitter. She should have realized that no player is bigger than the team. And I kind of get that, but maybe Mary thinks, hey, she's calling out something she saw that she didn't think was right. And she wants to she wants to explain why she retired. And this was one of the reasons. So in her explanation, it just didn't come across great, you know? And then here's one, kind of like the other side.
Actually, don't mind Earps being annoyed. She wasn't number 1 anymore, but all this talk about Hannah Hampton is a bad teammate and throwing her under the bus with vague accusations is really off-putting.
And someone says, I like Hannah Hampton, but she was taken out of the team for a while at Villa for behavioral issues. No one seems to remember that. And I think a lot of people do, maybe not as much for Villa, but it seems like she probably learned from that. And, you know, and hopefully she grew from that. Because I don't think Sarina would have taken her if she was disruptive in this last year, if she thought she was going to derail the team now in 2025. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then someone goes,
if she threw Cata Coll's bottle in a final, imagine what she does off camera.
And that's kind of lighthearted because I think that's kind of silly, but you're always going to find people who kind of say they believe that they're kind of taking the context clues of, okay, maybe this is why. But I just think that was more funny than anything.
Yeah, water bottle thief.
Well, I don't know how much we're going to keep. We kind of talked about it for a long time, but I guess it's just an opinion thing. I think people think two things. Did Hannah have behavioral issues? From all accounts, it looks like something was going on. Now, did she change? And was Mary still bitter? Was Mary just mad in 2025 when she was told by Sarina Wiegman that she was not going to be the number 1? Because the idea is, well, if Mary thought that she shouldn't have been number 2, was it just because she thinks Hannah should have never been number 1 because of the issues 3 years ago? Because she did that 3 years ago, she's should never be number 1. Or was she mad that Hannah was chosen over her? You get what I'm saying? Because is Mary still saying Hannah's behavior has persisted? Because then I could see, well, if she still persisted by being a bad teammate, or was her behavior so bad you can never recover from that? It doesn't sound like that, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this is a lot to take in.
Yeah, it is kind of weird. What does everyone think? Questions, comments down below. We did talk for a long time, and there's a lot going on with it. But, and it's just kind of awkward. They're both still playing. Obviously, they don't play together anymore in any capacity, but it's kind of crazy. What does everyone think? Questions, comments down below. We'll talk to everyone later. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.